Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, where's my brethren in Dallas, Texas? Shout out to Dallas, Texas. We're going to talk about Dallas, Texas' very own Errol Spence Jr. Recent news on him, this literally just dropped yesterday. Apparently, the IBF has ordered, pretty much have already made Errol Spence's next opponent. They pretty much thrusted it upon him. His next opponent will more than likely be a guy named by the name of Carlos Ocampo. Carlos Ocampo, a fighter with 22 wins, no losses, 13 KOs. A domestic level fighter from Mexico. You know, you go through his resume. There's no name that look familiar. Just all his fights are in Mexico against guys with 3, 5, 6, 8 losses. So he seems to just be one of those random fighters that works his way up into the IBF rankings, which is, it is what it is. We know these rankings things are ridiculous sometimes, but he's ranked number 3 by the IBF. And, Errol Spence will have to fight him in his next fight because that'll be a mandatory defense. This fight with Peterson was a voluntary defense. So Errol Spence picked Peterson because that's who he felt was the best available guy of the guys that were there. Porter didn't want to fight him. He already beat Kell Brook. Keith's not going to fight him. Danny's fighting Brandon Rios. Mir Khan's going to take some fights. So, there really wasn't many options for Errol Spence. He picked Lamont Peterson. Now he's going to fight this guy we've never heard of. And that's the fight you could probably expect Errol Spence to be back in the ring sometime in May or June. And it's that fight that Errol Spence stated that he wants to fight in Dallas because he wants to have a nice homecoming fight in Dallas. He had one a couple years ago when he fought Alejandro Barrera. I think that was like 3 years ago. So it'd be cool for him to fight in Dallas because he's been fighting. He fought in New York, he fought in the UK. He fought in what did he fight? Oh, yeah, New York and the UK basically. That's where he's been fighting in Las Vegas here and there. So I'm sure he wants to go back home. It'll be a good fight for him. It seems like the kind of opponent that you bring back home to fight so you can look good, get a good win, continue building your little fan base. And yeah, that's what it is, man. I mean, I'm not really too mad about it because you look at his last 2 opponents. The guy won on the road. He beat the guy that I ranked as the number 1 welterweight in the world in Kell Brook. And then he fought Lamont Peterson, who, I don't really think is the best welterweight in the world, but he sure as hell ain't the worst. And he's a very, very game and tough opponent. That's a very good first title defense. So I'll fight this guy Ocampo, who I don't know a damn thing about. Honestly, no, I don't think really anybody in America knows a damn thing about Ocampo because there really isn't anybody he's fought. He's fought all his fights in Mexico. What I can judge Mr. Ocampo off based on what I've seen is that just looking at his resume, his last, so he's fought twice in 2017, twice in 2016. Oh no, 3 times in 2016 and twice in 2017. So in those 5 fights, in those 5 fights, he only has 2 KOs, and he's fighting guys like he fought a guy with 8 losses, he stopped him. And then in his last fight, he fought a guy with 3 losses and stopped him. And then he couldn't stop guys like 3, 5, 3 losses. He doesn't seem to have the best power in the world. Average at best, but it's one thing to have power when you're fighting tomato cans, and it's another thing for that power to shine through when you're fighting a world-class, world champion level fighter. So I don't want to say too much about the guy because I really don't know anything about him, but that fight you could definitely expect Earl to be back home in Dallas. And you know what, man? Like depending on who they put on the undercard, that might be a fight I try to get out to because I used to live out in Dallas. Dallas was a home of mine for about a year. Haven't been there in about 4 years, so it'd be a cool little trip. Go see some family in Dallas. Go watch some boxing. Do some work. But yeah, that's the news. Errol Spence's opponent has pretty much been thrusted upon him. So you're looking at Ocampo in May or June, and then later on in the year, I don't know, man, because Keith Thurman's not going to fight this guy this year. That's been made perfectly clear. And then you got Porter not seemingly wanting to fight it because Porter wants to hold on to that mandatory spot. Garcia's going to fight Rios. So I don't know, man. I don't know who Earl's realistic opponents for the rest of this year is going to look like. It just seems like he's going to be someone you're going to have to pay a lot of money to for someone to get in the ring with because he's looking very dangerous. And a lot of people say, oh, well, Errol Spence, he's straight up and down with no special effects and all this nonsense. Like, people like I used to think the same thing before the Kell Brook fight, and then I went back and I really started studying Errol Spence, and I saw the Kell Brook fight. And defensively, like not the best fighter in the world, but very, very, very much better defense than the people give him credit for. His jab has improved on a fight-by-fight basis, and the whole reason that Lamont's corner stopped the fight is because they made an adjustment in that fight. Lamont tried to get on his toes and box more. Errol then himself got on his toes and started boxing and started cutting that distance, and and pretty much they ran out of ideas. So you guys can say he's straight up and down and that he's just mowing people down, that he's weight bullying, all this stuff, but the guy is actually improving on a fight-by-fight basis. And there's really only a handful of fighters that can beat him at the weight. So we'll see how this develops, but that's the news for now, that the IBF has ordered Carlos Ocampo from Mexico, 22-0, to fight Errol Spence Jr. They had until February 22nd to reach a deal for the match. So if you don't hear anything about this by February 22nd, I'm sure more news will come out, but that's what's being reported right now at the moment. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, man. Like, I can't really say what you think about the fight because odds are y'all don't know a damn thing about Mr. Carlos Ocampo because he seems like one of the fighters that ain't even a household name in his own household. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see how this all plays out. Who do you guys think of the top welterweights in the world? Who do you think would be willing to fight Errol Spence before 2018 is out, man? Like I really don't see a whole lot of guys willing to fight the guy. I think if the fight was offered to like Terrence Crawford, I could see Terrence Crawford making the fight, but then you had the whole top ranked PBC hurdles you gotta get through. Then you have I know Pacquiao would fight anybody, so Pacquiao would take the fight. Jeff Horn probably take the fight. That's probably that's probably win, lose, or draw. I think that'll probably be someone Errol Spence fights for the end of the year. Just a hunch I have, because of the fact that Jeff Horn is not a cash cow. Jeff Horn may still have a title if he somehow upsets Errol Spence, but even if he doesn't, all the more reason to make the fight. And it would thus in turn begin a little working relationship between PBC and Top Rank. So it would lead you to believe that if they do put Jeff Horn in there with Errol Spence, that maybe they make it easier for a Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight to happen down the line if Terrence positions himself. You still got to get past Jeff Horn. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.